If nobody talks about you, then you are nobody. Then you are nobody. Remember,
So, we got Priestess Osun Funke, Iyanifa here, but she ain't ready to be on camera yet. Y'all can't hear nothing?
If Maxwell can have his water at 82 degrees, I can take a moment to get myself together.
Whatever. Hey, y'all, please make sure that y'all share this video, like this video. We're going to be on here for a good minute. Well, I'm going to be on here for a good minute. Priestess Osun Funke is making a guest appearance tonight to help me out with the readings, okay?
So, I'm ready to get into the reading if you are, Hougan. I can't find the video. So, we can just go ahead and start. What's my first question?
You should do, well, currently, as of right now, sorry, I got to be on camera. As of right now, Nature Boy is locked up in prison.
So, yeah. Well, he's in jail, not prison. He's in DeKalb County Jail.
Well, yeah, he's in DeKalb County Jail. But what's most important is that he's not facing a life sentence. So I think it's appropriate to ask this question. When he's released from jail, can he reunite Carbon Nation? Can he reunite or recreate Carbon Nation? Because they've just, a lot of them have disbanded. There's only like 2 or 3 members left.
Okay. I'm going to do that as question number 2. I want to ask what the ancestors think about this foolishness and fuckery. Can I do that?
Okay.
Okay. So I just want to know, huh?
You go out off script. I sent you the questions.
Well, I didn't even look at them because I pretty much
do what you want to do.
Exactly. That's the only thing I do is what I want to do. If I don't want to do it, I ain't doing it. So I want to ask, what do the ancestors think about this foolishness and fuckery that is Nature Boy? Okay. So I'm doing a bone reading, you guys. If you've had readings for me before, then you know what this is all about. If you don't, I'll try to tilt the board so you can, tilt the screen so you can see my board. But Eliseo Bishop, what do the ancestors think about what's going on with him? All right, so y'all see where the charms have landed. And now I'm gonna put the screen back on my pretty face and we about to get into it. Okay, so what do the ancestors think about this foolishness and fuckery? So the first thing that I get right here, I'm gonna read this tile because this is where my intuition is taking me. Okay, this area right here. So the first thing I see here is the battery, and this is over the bullseye, right? So this is what's happening is in alignment and giving power to what the ancestors desire. Okay, what is happening is what should happen. So we could even read that perhaps as, is it karma? Yeah, so we could read that perhaps as karma, or which karma is the Eastern concept. So I'm just going to say exact change, right? So what's happening to him is exactly in alignment with what should be happening based on what he has done up until this point. Also over the bullseye, I get the heart, which means that the ancestors love what's happening to him. I get the rose quartz. So the ancestors are absolutely in alignment and love what's happening to him. They think that this is right. The battery, I'm going to show y'all how it was seated. The battery was over both the bullseye and the tile for communication, okay? Meaning that this is going to give power to discussions around this kind of thing. So this is something that the ancestors want to be talked about. They want people not to fall into such fuckery, right? They want people to have this discussion, to talk about it so that they don't fall victim to this kind of thing going forward, or that they are aware of it at the very least, right? I get the transformation stone over the heart. So this is talking about people who once loved him, people who once were in agreement with him, people who once may have thought that he was benign. It's going to transform their hearts. It's going to change the way that they see him. I get the snowflake jasper over the symbol for Ochosi, which is talking about being precise and hitting your mark. So this is a different approach to him being exposed. Okay, so perhaps in the past, leaders such as this were exposed through different methods. They're saying that this is a different way of dealing with him. Y'all look at this right here. I get the amplification stone over the win. I don't know if you can see that clearly, but it's a person who's winning a race, right? So I get the amplification stone over the win. So he might actually make out okay with this. If he doesn't win, then the ancestors themselves are saying that it is a win. It is a win for our collective bloodlines. I can actually ask. So they're not saying that he's going to win his case. They're saying that this is a win. This is a win for those people who may have been attuned to him or in tune with him. They're going to win by saying the truth, okay? I get the anger stone and also another piece of snowflake jasper, which is talking about things being different than what we had originally anticipated or different than what we expected. So the anger stone and the snowflake jasper over water flowing through someone's hand. So this means that he's losing, and he's losing in a way that he never could have anticipated. And that the anger of the ancestors, the wrath of the ancestors is upon him. So he's losing everything. He could have never imagined the losses that he's going to incur. And he's still foolish. Look at this. I get the survival stone, Jasper, over the clown. So he's still foolish. So this nigga's in jail, still preaching that he's God, still thinking that what he's teaching and saying is correct. The foolishness survives. Okay. I get the eraser over the house. So that means that he's going to have to if he can even rebuild. And that's a question that we'll ask going forward based on what Hougan had said for the second question. But I get the eraser over the house. So it's finished for him. What he had, the carbonation that he once knew, the followers that he had, the influence that he had, that's over with. That house is erased. It's blown down, torn up. It's finished. He's done. I get the transformation stone over questions. So they're saying that we need to actually ask different questions. So perhaps what we're asking are those obvious questions, and we need to look a little bit deeper. I get the hematite over medicine. So this is talking about in order for healing to take place, we have to be grounded and rooted in medicine. This is particularly important for those people who actually subscribed to his bullshit, right? They're going to need help. They're going to need medicine. And you know, in the practice of Ifa and many other African traditions, that medicine doesn't just mean something that you take or ingest to heal things. Medicine can be something that you wear on your body. Medicine can be an ebo that you do. Medicine can be behavior modification, but there is definitely some medicine that's going to be required to fix this situation. I also get the safety pin over the tools right here, if you can see that. Okay. So this is talking about that the people who have been affected by this and the community at large are going to need tools. They're going to have to be pinned, bound to tools in order to overcome the damage that this has done. And you guys only saw clips, but there was a whole movement of people that followed this man from the United States to Costa Rica, to Hawaii and beyond. Okay, so these people are going to need some serious healing, as indicated by the safety pin. They're going to need to be bound to tools of healing. I get the anger over the person who is sick and laying in bed, if you can see this right here. So this is talking about Nature Boy and him just really being at his wit's end. He can't believe that this is happening to him. Here he is calling himself God and having these people worship him and believe that he is some type of deity, but yet here he is in prison eating bologna sandwiches and sleeping with a nigga that he don't know every night in a 6-foot cell, which he might not even mind that part, honestly. But he really is confused. He's sick with trying to figure out how he got here. He's having a crisis, a crisis of understanding. I get the quarter over meditation. So this is saying that if he were to meditate about what has happened to him, and this probably extends to people who were part of his movement. If they were to meditate about it, it would pay off for them greatly, right? The quarter is the greatest denomination that I have in my kids. So meditation would pay off greatly. He would see where he went wrong. They would see where they went wrong. Everybody would understand that it was a bunch of foolishness and fuckery, and they would be able to do better. I get the feather, and I want y'all to see this. I get the feather right here over, you see a person on a treadmill, right? So this is talking about lightweight work, okay? So he's been doing some lightweight work. So he probably, no doubt, right, has had exposure to ATRs. He's had exposure to metaphysical thought. And he has probably been doing some work to try to assist his situation. Those who are part of his organization who are concerned with him have probably also been doing spiritual work, but it's very lightweight. It's light as a feather, as indicated by my beautiful charm here. It's not having much effect, but the work is being done. They really are trying to assist him, but to no avail. And just to piggyback on that, I get the wishbone here over the craft. This is a witch, and that's the craft. And that wishbone is saying that they're using witchcraft kind of as a last resort. They're just grappling, trying whatever they can do to work on his behalf. They wish that the craft could help him, but the ancestors have already spoken. And I know that the ancestors have spoken because right here, this is my symbol for Oshumare, the messenger from heaven, and Orisa. I get the lock, and I get the cloudy. I get the cloudy quartz. Okay, so what that's talking about is the message from heaven is clear. He's locked into that message. They're not going to be able to do any amount of witchcraft. They're not going to be able to do any amount of lightweight workings to change his fate. They don't see it happening. Okay, that's what this cloudy quartz is talking about. The deity don't see it happening. They don't see it changing for his behalf. I get the 4 here over the person whose head is buried in the sand. I don't know if you guys can see that. So the die was on 4. And so this is talking about they are stably rooted in a place where they cannot see, where their heads are buried. So this means that the 2 or 3 followers that he has remaining, and he himself can't see the truth. They don't realize that like it's done for him. What else do I see here of note? Well, I get the earring and I get the creativity stone over the summer. So I feel like it may be the summer before we actually hear, which is what this earring is talking about, before we actually hear the verdict, right? So whatever's happening in terms of the court proceedings and all of this back and forth, red tape and bureaucracy, it'll probably be the summer before we actually hear what is going to happen. So that's kind of the timeline. I get the danger the danger stone over fear. I don't know if y'all can see that. Um, this tile right here. So the ancestors fear for him. And fear is also dangerous for him. Not only that, so it's like the ancestors are saying they fear that things are not going to work out for him. They've been clear about that throughout this reading. But fear is also going to be a weakness for him because fear is going to allow his ego to really act a fool as if it wasn't. Okay. And you guys, look at this right here. I don't want to touch it before you see it. So this is one of my ancestral stones, and it's over the man and the child. Okay, this is where it was. So what this is saying to me, and this kind of just wraps a bow on this whole reading, the ancestors have stepped in. They've either stepped in and made things happen, or they stepped in and took their hands off for the sake of the male children. They're concerned about the descendants coming out of this cult, coming out of this family, coming out of this school of thought. They know that it's not beneficial for us going forward. And so all that they have done or failed to do is in an attempt to protect these male children. Last thing, I get the open bottle cap over my tile for Oshun. So what this is saying to me is that at some point, had he connected with Oshun energy, at some point, had Oshun been consulted, things might have gone a different way. But that relationship, the cap is off of it. It didn't happen, right? So he was not guided. There's very little, actually, there's no other Orisha input on this situation. I mean, we have Oshimari, the messenger, and then we have Oshun saying that he didn't do what he needed to do. What needed to be done was not done to ensure success or to ensure her involvement and protection. And we know that one of the main things that Oshun does is purification, correction. Okay. And so because she wasn't consulted, he went completely the wrong way. And so here we are. So that is what the ancestors think about this particular situation.
For real.
Well, I really do feel like she was starved. I feel like she was mistreated throughout her pregnancy. And I think that because of what she went through, and this is just my intuition speaking, I think that because of what she went through physically and emotionally, there was no possible way for that baby to be healthy. It's just a very terrible situation.
What does Nature Boy think about Solar and Velvet fucking? So Nature Boy has a baby mama named Velvet. Okay, Solar, who I was just doing a reading on, is now fucking and in a relationship with Velvet.
Right. So Velvet is the baby mama, and Solar is like the lieutenant. Okay, if you don't know how the organization is set up. So Nature Boy had a wife. He had several wives, but Velvet was like the main one. And then Solar was like the lieutenant. And now all of a sudden, Solar and Velvet are together. And I really know that this reading is going to be a mess. Okay. What was the question, Hougan? What do the ancestors think, or what does Nature Boy think? Hougan Zo. Okay, let's just ask what.
No, I don't know if you heard me. I was like, yeah, fuck what Nature Boy think. What do the ancestors think?
Okay, so what do the ancestors think about Velvet and Solar now being together? Okay, so off the table, we have, what is that? I'm not sure that belongs in my thing. Off the table, we have a piece of rose quartz, and it's also off the board over here on the side. So their relationship is not based on love. Okay, there, I said it.
Your rose quartz, bro?
It's in two pieces. It's been in two pieces.
Oh, never mind.
So I have both pieces here. And so love is not on the table. They are not in love. Whatever they're doing is not based on love. Okay. So there's that. Now, at this time, look at this, you guys. At this time, make sure y'all can see this. Okay, here we go. Yeah, at this time, I have the jasper, the feather, which is upside down, which means that it's not a lightweight situation, and I have the transformation stone over the clock, which means at this time. Okay, so at this time, they're trying to survive. At this time, they are trauma bonding. At this time, they got some Stockholm syndrome shit going on. At this time, Velvet and Solar are together because they're like, we went through this shit with this nigga and don't nobody else in the world understand. We understand each other. So let's just try to, figure it out. They're trying to survive. Okay. That's the first thing. And their will to survive is not lightweight, which is why the feather was upside down. Like, that is one of the most primordial instincts, survival of the fit, right? That's like root chakra all day long. They just trying to survive, and they know that they understand each other better than anyone else because of their shared trauma. And they have the transformation stone. They're trying to actually help each other get through it. So really, they're together now, not because they are in love, not because they really want to be together, but because they're really just trying to get through whatever it is that they've been through. Okay. I get the ancestral stone over change, over Oya. Okay, so this is talking about not only the energy of the deity Oya and the change that she's bringing, clearly the change that was brought to carbonation, but the change that's happening within each one of these individuals. They're reconnecting with their ancestors, and she's helping them. Oya, is helping them to do that and to kind of figure out once again what their purpose is, why they came here, what it is that they're intended to do. And so that is the change that they're experiencing, and they're experiencing that together. So it kind of makes sense that they would be together. I get the 3 over the tile representing Shango. So this tile has everything to do with precision and being deliberate. 3 being the number of interference, but also incremental growth. So if I read this like a sentence, this one particular tile is telling me that they are growing together beyond what they've experienced. But the experiences that they're having in the outside world, now that they're no longer cloistered, and carbonation is interfering with what they once believed. So there's actually turmoil, lightweight, because it's a 3, not a 5. But there's lightweight turmoil in their relationship. They're growing, and they could be growing in different directions and at different rates. So although they are banding together and they're attempting to, make a go of it together, it's not all peaches and cream for them either. There's a lot of conflict because they're really rediscovering who they are and who they want to be and how they want to move forward. I get another die on 3 over the summer. And if you remember, in the previous reading, I said that we would probably hear the final verdict of what's going to happen to Nature Boy in the summer. So whatever that decision is, I think is going to have a very profound effect on this union between Velvet and this boy, whatever his name is. I can't think of it right now. It's going to have an effect on them. There's going to be interference. So maybe they won't be in agreement. And, that makes sense to me because
I just want to add that Solar ain't got a place to stay, and he been living with Velvet.
Right. Solar, that's his name. So this makes sense to me because Solar, being a male, is probably going to just naturally be a little bit more empathetic to what's happening to Nature Boy. Also, because he was one of his lieutenants and he really, really bought into all of that fuckery. He's probably going to be just a little bit more sensitive to his position. Whereas Velvet, especially if you guys go and do your research and like watch some of the videos and her heartfelt explanation of what she experienced, she is not a fan of Nature Boy in any way. So the fact that there's going to be interference in the summer when I believe the decision is going to be handed down, I think that perhaps Nature Boy is not going to be punished as severely as those of us who side with the females in this situation would like. And that's going to cause a disruption in this partnership that Solar and Velvet have created for the time being, which is going to lead to this amethyst that we see here in the fall, the amethyst being a sober stone, right? So this is going to be a sobering time for them. They're probably going to realize that they're not meant to be together. And then finally, we have the skeleton over the winter. So by the winter, they'll be over with. Okay. So by the winter, Velvet and Solar will be no more. And that decline is going to start in the summer, when I believe the final verdict will be delivered about whatever's going to happen to Nature Boy. So that relationship is not going to be long lasting. Now, the skeleton is over the winter, but it's upside down. So the relationship is going to end as far as them being together. However, I think that they're going to remain friends because it's not an actual death to the relationship. So I think that they're just going to kind of cut their losses and just be like, thank you for being there for me. And I wish you the best. And they're going to part ways. But there will be a way forward for them to be friendly at the very least with one another. Now, I get the transformation stone over the cornucopia. So the original question we asked was, what do the ancestors think about Solar and Violet getting together? It's changing their destiny. It's not what's intended. It is affecting their inheritance. They're not going to need to continue with this relationship. However, the timeline above tells us that they won't. So I'm not really worried about that. But as long as they're together, they're not going to experience optimal growth, prosperity, evolution, health, wealth, wisdom, all those good things, because they're just not meant to be together. This is a relationship of convenience and trauma bonding. I get the anchor over the woman. And this is telling me that there's a lot of work for Velvet to do. She's really got to be anchored. She's got to sit the fuck down and be away from all of these carbonation niggas and figure out who she is, how she's going to show up in the world, and what type of person, what type of woman, what type of mother she's going to be. She's got to find herself and sit in her truth. She's not going to be able to do that as long as she's dealing with any one of these dudes. So Velvet actually has a lot to do. She's going to have to sit down. She's literally, so what this is actually telling me, this hematite is telling me that she hasn't even hit her bottom yet, which makes me believe that Solar might actually leave her. So this ending that I'm seeing in the fall, it may not be amicable. It may not be like, okay, thank you for being there. It may be a situation where Solar is like, I'm out. You know what I mean? Especially since we have the 3 over the summer, meaning that whatever happens in the summer, which I believe is going to be the verdict, they're not going to agree on it. Solar and Velvet are probably going to be at odds, and it's going to be such that Solar leaves her. which is going to lead Velvet to fall to her knees. Okay. And when she is face down on the floor, ugly face crying at the witching hour, right? Like we've all done, those of us who walk this walk for real. It's going to be in that place at that time that she realizes what it is that she's supposed to do, who she's supposed to be, and how she is going to effectively recover from this fuckery, because this is absolute fuckery. Okay. I get the student stone. Okay. This is soda light over the throat, which is the domain of not only Ifa, the oracle, the Akashic records, but it's also just speaking your truth. Okay. So from this situation, both of these individuals, because we asked about Velvet and that boy, why can I not think of his name? Solar. Velvet and Solar, we asked about both of them, and I get the student stone over the throat. So they both are going to learn through this experience to be more forthcoming with the truth. Not only the truth, but their own experience. If Velvet would have said at some point, nigga, that hurts, I don't like that, perhaps things would have been different. If Solar would have said, dude, that's not cool. Like, I follow you, I fuck with your teaching, but what are you doing? That's my baby mama. Perhaps things would have been different. So this whole situation is teaching both of them to speak their truth, to advocate for themselves. This is something that they've had to learn. And what a terrible, horrible, painful lesson. But it's the lesson nonetheless, right? Then I get the anger stone over the heart. So, whether or not either of them seek therapy, they need it, because we've definitely got some stagnant energy in the heart that's built up, and it's anger. And we can only imagine what that anger is based on, right? Feelings of being disrespected, feelings of being abused, actual abuse, not just feelings of, right? But actual abuse, physical pain, all of that shit is right there in the heart for both of them. We have the trophy, however, over the solar plexus. So they have the opportunity to kind of cleanse and remove this for it to be purified, possibly using the energy of Oshun. However, it's not indicated. Oshun is not coming through this reading, but they can be purified. This stagnation in the heart can be washed away, but it's going to take effort on their part to do that. And if they do that, it can be overcome, which is what the trophy is talking about. I have the Jasper, the snowflake Jasper over disappointment. So both of them, they're brokenhearted. Again, trauma bonding, which I said, at the very first of this reading. They really are fucked up, y'all. They are so hurt. They are so disappointed. They are so confused. They do not understand what happened. Like, one minute they were wearing beautiful African dresses and living on the beach in Costa Rica eating mangoes, and the next minute bitches is getting raped, babies is getting killed, and this nigga's in jail. They are like, how did we get here? They're so disappointed. And really, they're just gonna have to unpack. They're gonna have to unpack what they went through and what happened. For sure, because I get the fool's gold over betrayal. So things are not as they seem for these two. We probably have a clearer understanding of what they've gone through than they have. They are still looking at the shiny things. They still have reverence for this man, y'all. They do. They still have reverence for him. They still think that there's value in his teachings. They still, both of them, as angry and displaced as they are, they still feel like he may be being done wrong. They're going to have to unpack this. They're going to have to really experience that. And it's going to cost them, because I get the money stone over poverty. They haven't lost everything. I think I mentioned that earlier with Velvet. Like, as low as she is, she hasn't hit the bottom. Both of them are going to have to lose everything before they realize what their own spiritual doctrine is, before they realize what it is that they believe, before they can actually ascertain what they have compromised and what they gave up to be a part of this cult. And both of them have to see him clearly, which they do not. They do not see him clearly yet. So there's still some shit that they got to go through. I get the quarter over interruption of destiny. So again, the quarter being the highest denomination in my kit, is this interruption of destiny is going to cost them, basically. Like, this is going to be very costly to them, but I've already said that because both of them are going to have to land face down on the floor before they can get up and rebuild. So they're not there yet. Okay, so we have not heard the last of them, and they have not reached the point that they need to be at before they can start to rebuild from a place that's going to be powerful and healed and perfected. They're still kind of under his spell, which is what this fool's gold is all about. Now, the fool's gold is over betrayal, so they do realize that they were done wrong, but they don't see the extent of it. They have no idea exactly how wrong they were done. They really are going to have to see this situation and this nigga for exactly who he is and what they've been through. They're still making excuses for him, and they still don't think it's as bad as it looks. Both of them are sick about it. And when I say sick, I'm really talking about an emotional type of illness, because I get the safety pin over the person in bed. So, you know, they're sick, they're upset, they're depressed, if you will. They're emotionally affected by it. Duh. But they haven't hit the bottom yet. I get the cloudy quartz over the craft. Second time I've seen that here. They are trying to do work. Probably, I feel just intuitively that it would be Violet who's trying to do more work, probably than Solar. But the ancestors don't see it. The cloudy quartz, it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna do what she wants it to do. However, I do get the amplification stone over the Egungun. So if they or she or him, whichever one of them, or them collectively, since they trying to be together, were to go to the ancestors, they would see more clearly. It may not change the things that they see, right? But they would see more clearly the way to go, the way to move forward. But because I get the amplification stone over the Egungun, then I know that they're not doing that. They're not consulting the Egungun. They're doing some type of craft. And actually, I don't see, the only Orisha that I see indicated here, well, I'll get into that, but I'll get into that in just a second. But they're really not working with Orisha. So that is a little bit troubling, because who are they working with? Because clearly they're working, but they're not working with Orisha. I digress. Let me keep it moving. I get the wishbone and the open bottle cap over medicine. So this is telling me that what they wish for, they don't have the medicine for it. Again, they're not working with Orisha. So not only are they not working with Orisha, I take that back, because I had OHI and I had OHI up here, which I spoke about with the ancestral stone, and then Shango with the number 3. However, back to this tile, I'm seeing that what they wish for, they don't have the medicine for. So as much work as they may be trying to do, as much consultation as they may be doing on their own, they don't have the recipe. So they don't even have what they need to have to do what it is that they are hoping to accomplish, which could be to get him out of jail, or could be to put him in jail forever, since now they're trying to be together and they probably don't want to deal with him. Whatever it is that they wish for, they don't have what they need to have to make it happen. This is one of those situations where, you know, what's the goon to a goblin, right? they making pea jars and this nigga's on his way to the penitentiary. Like, let's be serious. And I know that what I'm saying is true because over Ifa, or let's just call it destiny for any of you assholes who may want to challenge me being able to speak to Ifa through this tool. Over destiny, I get the battery, right? I get the screw and I get the lock. So they're saying the ancestors are saying this is their destiny, man. This situation is just powering those things that they were supposed to experience. They are screwed, not in a sense of being fucked up, but they are bound to, connected to, in a way that is not easily reversed to this situation. It's something that they had to experience. And yes, it's karmic because of all the things that they did leading up to this. And then they are locked into it. So they can't run from this moment. Okay, this is something that they're gonna have to experience. They're gonna have to just let it happen. The only way to get through it is to go through it, and that's what they're doing right now, and that's what they're gonna have to continue to do. I get the earring over the future and the tiger's eye, which is the creativity stone. So the ancestors are saying that they listen. Ifa says, let those who have ears bring them. If they listen, then their lives can be better in the future. They can literally create the life that they want to experience. I have the tiger's eye here, right? They can literally create the life that they want to experience if they listen. Earring. But if they don't, I guess we'd have to do another reading to try to figure out what their situation is. And then finally, the last thing that I am going to read on this board is the heart over not just elevation, but ascension. Okay. And this is the heart as in love. Okay. So I think this is actually speaking to both of them. And I can actually even in my physical body feel emotion right now. I think that for both of these people, Velvet and Solar, they have to understand the difference between like lust and admiration and love. I think that they are both incredibly heartbroken, but I don't think that they've fallen as low as they must in order to rebuild from this situation. I think that after this is said and done, they will never love the same. And I think that we all experience that initial first heartbreak that kind of changes us forever. But y'all, this is something different. This is like on a molecular level, like on a DNA level. Like they have to understand that you cannot idolize. That's the word I'm looking for. This is teaching them the difference between love and idolizing. This is a necessary karmic death and experience that they have to have. Remember, I told you I had the quarter over interruption of destiny. This is a karmic death that they have to experience, the idolizing of another individual. And it is only through this experience that they will actually ascend. So the good news is for Velvet and Solar is that if they allow themselves to hit rock bottom, if they allow themselves to fully experience this horrible situation that they've been complicit in, they will emerge from it with a wisdom that will actually catapult them towards ascension if they do the work necessary to make that happen. And that is the reading.
I was saying that was Priestess Osun Funke delivering a wonderful reading about Nature Boy. I want you all to please hit the sunflower emoji if you enjoyed that reading. I know that tonight has been very dark, and it has also been very, very heavy for a lot of you all. So that being said, I want you to take your Florida water or take some type of cleansing agent, okay? And cleanse yourself. Take a deep breath if you need to do that, okay, guys? Because we're about to get into the fun stuff, all right? So I know that Priestess Osun Funke don't know who the fuck these people are, so that's gonna be the end of her segment. Thank you so much to my best friend for helping me out with tonight's show and making her debut, because she ain't did a damn celebrity reading ever on this channel. Okay.
If nobody talks about you, then you are